If you will, when you get that star out there, kiss that star. You'll be on the front page of the paper in the morning.
Thank you, Ronnie. Thank you. Gosh, what a huge honor. This is just wonderful. And Ronnie, I can't thank you enough for coming down today and saying such beautiful things. I so appreciate that. I mean, there's so many people that have guided me to this point, but, you know, artists that I grew up listening to in Australia, Ronnie, you were so amongst them all. And I think it's that contemporary side of the genre, which is so multifaceted, that really brought me to this town. And I was thinking about when I first came, which was in 1989, none of these buildings, I'm looking around and nothing was here. I mean, not the arena, not the Hilton, not the AT&T building, I mean, nothing around here was here. The Renaissance Hotel was the tallest building in town, I seem to recall. But I brought a demo tape with me, about 4 or 5 songs, and I walked up and down 16th and 17th Ave and took it into a lot of people that would, well, when I say a lot, about 4, that would see me. And nobody really listened to it. They did enough to know it wasn't worth listening to. And but in the process of that, the second I got here, I loved this town. I grew up with all these records in my record collection, my dad's record collection, and on the back of them it all said recorded in Nashville, Tennessee. So as a 7-year-old boy, I just went, well, that's where I'm going to go to make music, is Nashville, Tennessee. Wherever that is, I'm going there. And I didn't know how I'd get here, when I would get here, but that was it. It was so deeply predestined for me to come. And from artists like Ronnie that I grew up listening to, and songs I played in my cover bands, I just wanted to come to this magical place. And I remember coming, and it was May, June of '89, and it was magic town for me. And Music Row was the most magical little village, and I didn't want to go back to Australia. I just wanted to stay there. And so, you know, what happened was I played my demo to all these people, and I didn't get anybody liking anything. And I went back to Australia and sort of made a plan for when to come back. How should I come back? How can I do it? And I got one letter from a lady called Mary Martin, who was the head of A&R at RCA Records at the time. And she sent that letter to me in Australia. And I remember just being excited that there was something from Nashville that arrived for me. And she said in the letter that I listened to your music and I really enjoyed it. Unfortunately, right now, country music is in a traditional cycle, and your music doesn't really suit that. But I hope you can come back to Nashville and find a home, and just keep doing what you're doing. And what I took from that letter was it was perfect. It was exactly what I needed to hear. It was so helpful to me because because I grew up with guys like Ronnie and more contemporary country artists. I was out of sync with what was going on. In the year that they signed Garth, in the year they signed Alan Jackson, and Clint Black was dominating the radio, I didn't fit into any of that. But country music is such a big genre, and the artist I grew up with, like Ronnie, was kind of what I was doing. So I was excited to get back to town, find a home, and just hope that my style would eventually suit. And for however many years it took, and there was a lot of them, I was grateful that this town was a great place to live in, and still is.